I just remember when I first read the script, when I was a kid, actually, like, when I was quite old, almost kind of continuing at the moment, like, whenever I felt or feel kind of shitty, I used to like walk down the street and look for a puddle and like stick my face in the puddle. And I just remember, like, just because like, if everything in the world is kind of fucked up, it doesn't really matter as long as you kind of feel wet on your face. And I remember reading it thinking like, Will probably feels kind of similar to that. And so that's how I get wet on my face when I cry. I don't know, you just kind of have to look into the actor who's acting with you and hope that they're looking at you honestly, and then you can react honestly back to them. And if that helps crying,
Trevor, how do you cry?
I don't know how I cried, but I think my biggest problem was keeping Tom's face out of puddles when we were shooting the movie. Seemed to be whenever we couldn't find him, his face was down in a puddle somewhere. I think probably the hardest part of the movie, James alluded to it, is that it's a very odd character that you haven't seen before, and quite often in movies and in scripts, you read a character and say, oh yeah, I know that guy, and I know that guy. And I think when we read Tom, when we read the character that Steve had created, this wasn't anyone who we could instantly reference. It reminded me of a guy I knew in high school, and you sort of feel like you know people like that. But when we started casting, and we brought in probably 150 people to read it, it just, everybody seemed like they didn't have that thing that was so unusual. And it's unusual in casting, because again, movies tend to have a lot of caricatures, you know, and familiar stuff, and so, like I said, when Tom came in, our jaws hit the floor because he did something so unique, and so I think that was a huge comfort level when we met Tom and realized, all right, we found this guy, and then after that, the rest of the cast sort of blended beautifully with them, and I would say, although James is gesturing that he wants to put his face in a puddle or something.
It was the character of Rachel's part. Why would a guy wait for, who would be this person that he would wait for? And that was the challenge of finding her character, and which I think proved you were worth waiting.
Wasn't she?
Let's open up to a few questions in the audience. Yes, very eager over here.
That's very difficult to answer because in this particular case, the script was handed over. We had several meetings early on, James, correct me if I'm misrepresenting, and then I showed up once, correct, in Utah? So once the script is transferred over, I mean, there's lots of phone calls and you know, problems will arise, and you address them. But essentially, I mean, the process almost makes the thing two things. I mean, I write if it were a joke, I write the joke, then he stands up and tells it. And so, you know, without going page by page on the script, it changes and alters itself in such interesting ways, but it's an ongoing and laborious process that is very mysterious and completely collaborative. And then after James has his ideas, then these guys got to, you know, say the lines and do with their faces what James hopes to capture. And so I just think it's a huge mystery how a movie ever works. I do. I think you could study it all you want, but it's a complete crapshoot.
How do you, when you're working with screenwriters, how much do you collaborate?
kind of like building a house. It's like Steve's the architect and the designer, and then you bring in all these other subcontractors. We call them special effects guys, makeup people, you know, on down the line. And I would be like the general contractor in terms of overseeing the whole vision. But my job is to maximize the potential of the script, to get the actors to hopefully deliver the script, but also to always listen to what they have to say, because I've found that actors are generally really smart when it comes to characters. And since they live in the shoes and the clothes of the characters, they actually get more personal even than the writer does, strangely enough, because they bring it to life in a different way, and in a different way, you know. And then you have the cameraman, and then you have your editors, then you have obviously my partner, my producing partner, who's always there watching, making sure that I'm getting what I need or not doing what I shouldn't or whatever, and that becomes a different collaboration, because then we have to deal with financial issues as well as creative issues, and then comes the editor, and then comes the audience. And the audience changes it too, because the audience can watch it and you can go out and have a screening and they'll go, I don't know why that was in the movie. It's not working for us. And we have to listen to that as filmmakers as much as we don't like it. But if this is simply the James Keats Film Festival, well, hopefully, you know, everybody in the world agrees with what my vision is, but most filmmakers don't get to do that. And I certainly don't. And so as you said, it's a crapshoot. It's an ongoing mystery that's constantly evolving. You know, and then I forgot to mention the composer. We happen to have one of the greatest composers in the world sitting right here, Mr. John Barry, who is, I think, five Oscars, John? John, stand up and take a bow. He's the operator. He's a good friend of mine. There he is. He can tell you how filmmakers screw up the scores. Yeah, anyway.
Tell us for a second about the other musician.
We have Nick Arata.